Hey, what's up everybody? It's AJ Lester with TRAX TV and I'm bringing you another 2021 ATV. This right here is the Raptor 700R. It's a 2021 and this is a Canadian version. So the coloration and graphics are specific to Canada. You can get the Yamaha 700R just as it sits as well in the US. You can get a base one that loses the R designation at the end. It's just a Raptor 700 base model. And then you can also get a Raptor 700R SE in the US. So Canada, you just got the one, Raptor 700R as it sits here today. It's got some reflectors on it and a few things you won't see on the US version, but overall the same vehicle is available in the US, and then there's two others, one below, one above. I'll give you prices on those in just a minute. I have them written down, but I don't want to screw it up. So I'll give you the prices and the differentials between Canada, USA, and the three different models in just a sec. But I'm excited to get out and test ride this thing, which I'm actually going to do probably later on today, and that'll be up on YouTube pretty soon as well. But the Raptor really hasn't changed all that much. And the truth is, it doesn't really need to. The Raptor is the best-selling sport ATV of all time. That's a pretty big statement, and Yamaha backs it up. It's not really needing all that much changed on it. The Raptor has always been, and I think will always be, the torque monster of the sport world. And if you think about it, I think right now there's only two sport ATVs even being produced. They have various models, but Yamaha makes the 450 still, and they make the Raptor. And if you want big torque, big horsepower, big fun, the Raptor's the way to go, because that's what it's all about. It's about big torque. It's about that 686cc motor under the hood. And that's what really gives the, gets the power to the ground and delivers. And that's what's always made the Raptor really popular. Even back in the days when it was the 660 Raptor, it was way bigger than everything else, and everybody loved all of that grunty, low-end torque that a four-stroke produced. And the Raptor still delivers all of that. There's no question asked. It's still a super fun ATV to ride. Where does it kind of fit in right now? It's something that I want people to make some comments about down below, because for a long time, the sport ATV market was completely dead. Like, pretty much everything went away and everybody thought, oh, this is the end of the sport ATV, but it's starting to make a progressive comeback. And I want to know what you guys think of the sport market, and is there interest out there in a Raptor, in a 450, in more 450s? Are people looking to go out and race? Are they looking to go out and trail ride? Are they going to the track and doing those things? It'd be interesting to see what you guys have to say about that, so leave us a comment down below. Now, one of the things about the Raptor that I've always loved, and I owned a 660 Raptor back in the day, and I've had a 700 as well, because pure sport ATVs are really what got me onto, well, ATVing, truthfully. It was pure sport ATVs that, riding, and it kind of, I don't know, as a teenager, it gave me that sort of, that area to vent, to just go out and rip on something like this down the trails where everybody said, you can't take that on the trails. But the Raptor has always fit in that kind of category of, it's not really a track bike, and it's not really like an aggressive, hardcore trail bike, because you're not going to take this thing through the mud, although some people do. Where it fits is kind of in that fire road, wide open, high-speed trail. It'll go to the track, no problem. You can take this vehicle to the track, have a blast all day long. And is it set up like a 450? No. But you know what? The nice thing about it is you can leave it in about third gear on any track and just lug the thing around, and you don't have to be stirring the clutch and shifting all the time. It does a great job at that. The 686 with that Yamaha fuel injection is just, it's there all the time. It delivers, and it's very strong. The nice thing is too, with a 2.9 gallon fuel tank, this thing will go all day long at the track and you don't even have to fill up. It's great. And the Yamaha fuel injection really saves you a lot of that, a lot of that fuel, because it does a great job at giving you exactly what you need into the engine. Now, I will say, is it perfect? No, there's a couple of things that I would like to see. The gauge package on a Yamaha Raptor has always been very basic. I'll turn it on here so you can see. It says whether you got low fuel, whether there's a problem with the engine, if it's overheating, reverse, and neutral, and that is all that you get. There's nothing more. I think it would be really nice, on an SE model or something of that spec, maybe to have a gauge on there, because it would be nice to know, for those people who trail ride these, which I think is probably better than probably the 60% majority who take these on the trails and have fun. It'd be nice to have a trip meter, it'd be nice to have a fuel gauge, it'd be nice to see what your speed is. Those are just some things that I gripe about a little bit. Would I also like to see steel braided brake lines? Yes, but that's not necessary, and the brakes do work great on this. Something to actually keep in mind too is that the brakes on a Yamaha Raptor are aluminum. So they're twin piston caliper, aluminum calipers. And the reason that they use aluminum on there, as well as with the disc brake rotor, they also drill it out. And the reason why they drill them out is to keep the weight on the front end of this vehicle the unsprung weight to keep it low. So it's got aluminum calipers, and then also the rotors are drilled. Now, the rotors do clean out better because they're drilled, but when you go to that lower unsprung weight, what it means is that all of the weight that's outside of the suspension on this vehicle is reduced. And unsprung weight really plays a huge role in dramatically negatively impacting the characteristics of the vehicle. So the more weight outside of the suspension that you can lower and cut off, the better this vehicle will handle and the less that you're going to feel when you impact something, especially on the front end. So if you hit something and you careen, you know, a rock and it wants to whip the bars out of your hands, if you have less unsprung weight, it does actually mean less felt momentum into the actual bars of the vehicle. It's just less weight is always good, but less unsprung weight outside of the suspension is always even better. So there's something about this, about the brake package on this vehicle. The brakes do work great. There's no issue with them. I'm just a fan of having, you know, brakes that are not squishy whatsoever. So steel braided lines is something that's nice. Maybe on the SE it could be used. When you come down to the shock package on the Raptor, there's no identification anywhere on them, and it does say, some websites say that it has KYBs. These kind of look like Sokies to me, but maybe they are KYBs. Whatever they are, they're a really good shock package. There's nothing wrong with them. They work really well. Down here on the bottom, you've got your rebound adjustability. Up top, you've got your high speed and low speed compression. And out back, you also have those same three settings. So you got high speed, low speed, and rebound, as well as obvious the threaded preload adjustment. All three shocks have that. They're a really good quality shock package, and from what I can see online, there's not a change in shocks when you go between the base model and the SE model. So all the way through the range, you're going to get a good quality shock package, and it does deliver. Out on the track, out on the trail, this thing, it handles really well. Now keep in mind, it's a solid rear axle, so you're not going to be looking for independent buttery smooth suspension because it ain't going to be found here. This is a solid axle sport ATV. Your ground clearance on an ATV like this out back is absolutely minimal. Like, you know, you got almost nothing back here for ground clearance. So keep that in mind with sport ATVs. We're all used to that. I know this ain't, you know, it's not shocking to you, but ground clearance up front on the front of the suspension when it's sitting out nice and proud is somewhere above 9 inches. Out back, you're looking at probably, you know, on the bottom of the chain ring or the disc brake where that where the guard is back here, somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 4 inches of ground clearance. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But I will say the polymer skid plate that comes on this thing is very durable, very rugged, and you can also throw a world of abuse at this rear axle without it getting bent. So don't worry about that. We put it through its paces, and there's no chance that you're going to have any issues with that. It's a solid rear axle. Now, while we're out back, the rear taillight on this thing is an LED, and that's something that's kind of nice to have. The front headlights are 30-watt incandescents, so they're not LED, but in the future, an LED headlight up front would be really cool to have. What else can I tell you about this thing? I'll go into a couple more details. I'm going to pick up my piece of paper so I can give you exact specs on pricing, but I'll let you have a little closer look before I start it up. So the Canadian model of the Raptor, it only comes in one, as the 700R, is $11,799. If you go USA, there's 3 different models, and they range from $84.99 all the way up to $96.99. This one that we have here in the US is $9,099. That's for the 700R. The base model is $84.99, and that loses the R designation. And then if you go up to the SE, which gives you a choice of premium graphics, some cool GYTR aluminum parts and pieces, it's got nice rims on it too. They have a little coloration on them as well. That's going to take you all the way up to $96.99. It's a really, really nice package in the US, but again, only available in the US, not in Canada. Transmission on the Raptor, still the same 5-speed, tried and true, YZ spec ratchet shifter, delivers great performance. This thing shifts like a beast. And the nice part about it is that the clutch plates in the basket are built with strength in mind, so you can pound shifts on this thing even when under power, no issues whatsoever. Beat on it, you know, do whatever you want. This thing works awesome, and trust me, we have put it through its paces, we've abused it, and the Raptors keep on coming back for more. Tire-wise, you get the same tires no matter what you buy, whether you buy base model or whether you buy SE. They're Maxxis MS13s. You know, not anything really special. There's actually not a huge amount of tread on these tires, so you're going to burn through these fairly quickly, and then afterwards, you know, if you go to something like an ITP whole shot or a different tire, you can get a little more traction. If you're looking for that, you could go to a bigger diameter if you're running off trail a little bit more to try to look for a bit more ground clearance, what have you. But they're 22s up front, 20s in the back. The rear is on a 9-inch rim, the front is on a 10-inch rim, so it is still a staggered setup like that. Now, there haven't been a whole lot of changes. Suspension travel, you're looking at 9.1 inches up front, out back is 10.1. You know, the lower A-arm is now arched on the Raptor, which they changed, you know, over the past couple of years. And that's pretty much about, you know, the tall and the short of it. I told you that the tank is 2.9 gallons, which is about 11 liters in Canada. And that's about all I have to say right now. I mean, the Raptor doesn't seem like it's been changed all that much, but the truth is it doesn't really need to be. Like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing a steel braided line on an SE. I wouldn't mind seeing a gauge on an SE, but you really don't need it. And I think Yamaha's just continuing to build this because people continue to buy it because it is a great ATV. Now, you know, a lot of people out there are looking for four-wheel drive performance, you know, looking at something like a Renegade or a Scrambler or something like that. This is a completely different market, and this is if you want to, you know, wheelie non-stop, power slide through corners, you're not worried about big ground clearance, you're not going through big mud holes, and you just want to have a lot of fun. This vehicle delivers. And if you do want to go to the track, no issues whatsoever. You can do that, and I have and will continue to, because the Raptor is kind of the quintessential all-around sport ATV. It just does a little bit of everything, and it does it really well. It is a jack of all trades. So I'll fire it up for you, let you hear what it sounds like. I will be honest, in stock form, the stock exhaust on this thing, like any other stock exhaust, doesn't sound incredibly amazing, but it keeps the neighbors happy. So do know that if you put an exhaust on a Raptor, it will sound incredible. There's nothing like the sound of a 686 Raptor spun up, you know, pulling through the gears going down the road. And it's music to your ears, especially when you're riding it. It's just noise equals horsepower. Sorry, I know that doesn't keep everybody happy, but who cares? Nice and quiet. It's not obnoxious. And like I said, if you got neighbors close by or, you know, what have you, it's not going to get anybody upset. Not terribly loud. The other cool thing, it's a 5-speed, but it also has reverse, and a lot of pure sport ATVs never had reverse on them. So this one does. It's super easy to use. It's just down below first gear, really easy to get it into reverse. It also has a parking brake, easy to use. And if you're, you know, if you're a guy who's out at the track all the time and you want to lose some weight, you could take the parking brake off if you wanted to. I'm not telling you to do that, but you could. Having reverse is really nice though, especially for running out on the trails. So anyways, that's pretty much the tall and the short of the Yamaha Raptor 700R Canadian spec version. Like I said, you can get this exact same one in the US, but you can also get the base non-R version, and you can get the RSE version in the USA with some really cool graphics. There's some sweet options there, so props to those guys. But yeah, leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think of the sport market right now. Is it growing? Are you seeing more out on the trails? Are you seeing more people, you know, getting involved in the sport market? What do you think of the Raptor? What would you like to see changed on it? Or are you happy with where it's at too? Have you ordered one? Did you buy one this year? Just let us know what you think about the pure sport market right now, because I think it's making a bit of a comeback, and I'm not sad to see it come back because I always love these types of ATVs. So yeah, leave us a comment below, subscribe, check out our other videos, and we will have a full test ride on this Raptor, exact one, in just a couple of days. So stay tuned, and we'll put it up online.